Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Creatives Conversation. My name is Gabby, and this is a production put on by Helps Too, and we are always here to help you. I'm so excited because we had our season 1 of the Creatives Conversation. We took a long break. I feel like it was a whole year. I think it was about 8 months when I looked at YouTube. The last time we posted was like 8 months ago. It's been a while, probably more than that. But we're finally back because it's time to be back, number one, for season 2. We have so much to talk about, so much that we've been through as a company, myself personally, the owner of the company and this brand. And I'm so excited to help creatives, hopefully like yourself, if you're watching or listening, really take what you do to the next level. The whole essence and reason this podcast exists is to really make creatives, small entrepreneurs, and small businesses help you guys become sustainable, help you guys really see your goals come true, and help you guys help others. That's why we're called Helps Too. Helping you help other. Two helps. Get it? If you don't, just keep going. Pray about it. Maybe you'll get it later. But I want to just let you guys know where we've been, where I've been as the owner of Helps Too. So this last year, we kind of came to a place where we're like, hey, what we're doing online is amazing and we want to keep that going. But internally, we need to kind of reorganize some things. So I took a step and just stepped back actually and just kind of looked at everything. And I said, what is our main goal here? What are we trying to do? And our main goal is to help creatives like you, entrepreneurs, small business owners, really get to where you're going. And what does that look like for us practically? So I took a step back, we reorganized, and now we're back better than ever. And I'm so glad that we're here. Today, I want to get us started with season 2 with this topic. It's called 3 Things You Need to Know to Market Yourself Successfully in 2023. And beyond, honestly. I think this will go way beyond 2023. But guys, just to give myself a little bit of, credibility here when it comes to talking about this. I've been in marketing for over 12 years. I started way back when I went to college. It feels like ages ago. Ages ago. I went to Boston U. I got a business degree there. I studied marketing on the forefront in that school. It was crazy. I'm so glad. I was like, I'm never going back to school. It was just too much for me. I'm the creative type. I'm like, I cannot believe I made it this far. But I graduated, went straight into touring as a musician, which seems very unrelated, but I did. I couldn't really find the job that I wanted in the business realm. I love music. A lot of you know I'm a musician. I go by the name of Marte. And that actually takes a lot of business skill and marketing knowledge if you're not under a record label. So went ahead and toured as a musician, led a bunch of bands, and actually helped a music company really get its kind of feet under it for 4 years. And then I went into the marketing realm full force and I began working, and I've been in marketing for over 12 years now. So, and that does not count my college experience. So it's been, if you want to count that, it's been about, man, guys, it's been 16 years and that makes me feel old, but it's okay because we have some wisdom to go behind it. And I'm still learning too. So sometimes I'm going to bring topics that I want to discuss truly out of discussion. And then other times I think we should talk about how to make y'all grow. I think we can do it on both ends. Let's pioneer together. Let's do this. So let's talk about 3 things you need to know to market yourself successfully in 2023. Let's jump in. But before I get started here, make sure if you're on YouTube or you're seeing this on like a social media platform that you subscribe. If you're on a podcast platform, subscribe there too if you can. And let's stay friends and we're in this together, okay? So why this title of this podcast? Well, I feel like, a lot of people I talk to in the marketing realm think they know what it's going to take in 2023 and beyond and the year they're in to market themselves. But the reality is like a lot of people really don't know. They really don't know. I am in this day to day and I've been in this for years. I've seen things change. I have seen the algorithm changes for like all the networks. I get it. And I have to know because I'm helping other people grow constantly. So for example, I was talking to somebody who wanted to work with me the other day, and he said that he knows that he has to post 5 times a day on Instagram. And I was like, who told you that? And he was like, well, I know that's the only way we're going to grow. And I was like, well, that's not true. I'm like, Instagram right now in this moment, They prioritize A, B, and C. And what, A was engagement, like you being present on the platform. They take the fact that they're social media really seriously. And so if you're not doing that, you're not going to grow no matter how much you post a day. And then number 2, they really want you to be not successful. They want you to be, consistent. So with that, you could be consistent by posting every 2 days. Like it doesn't have to be 5 times a day. Some people post every 2 days, but because they have good engagement with others that are doing similar things like them on Instagram and they show up constantly, their stuff gets pushed out by Instagram way more than someone that posts 5 times a day and doesn't really ever comment, like, share, or follow anybody else. So just things like that go a long way and make a huge difference. So let's jump in. 3 things you need to know to market yourself successfully. Some people market is not successful in 2023. Number 1, you need to be end goal minded. And here's why. And first of all, end goal minded. Let's go back. What is end goal minded? It is you knowing why you're doing this. For example, I'm going to just to give you some continuation throughout this podcast, this episode, I'm going to use 2 examples, and they're my own because I know those the best. I'm going to give you a creative example and a small business example. So I'm going to give you helps to the small business example, and I'm going to give you the creative example, Marte music, okay, which is me as an artist. So a lot of people, they end up spreading themselves thin when it comes to not having an end goal. So an end goal for Marte music would be like, I want to put out an album this year in 2023, and I want to start getting influencer deals. Like that is the end goal for me this year. There's a lot more to it, but let's just say for this example, that's the end goal. Like I want to take everything I'm doing and I want to get there and I want to close this gap. You know what I mean? And then for helps too, end goal would probably be to hit a certain number of revenue. Let's just say, for example, $20,000. Okay. And maybe we're at 12 right now in this time. What is our end goal? $20,000. We need to now close this gap. Having an end goal, first of all, gives you energy. Because if you have multiple end goals which you can, but I think you need to have one primary one, you know what I mean? And then once you hit that one, go after the secondary. And once you hit that one, then the third and the fourth. And then you kind of have other goals coming up to be the primary, but you have to kind of focus here because if you don't, I'm going to tell you the truth, you're going to become tired. And so a lot of creatives, small businesses, entrepreneurs, they become tired because they are chasing 4 and 5 goals. And their energy and their resources, and even if they have people, are just so spread in terms of focus that they end up almost burning out. And so if you have a bunch of goals, I want to just ask that you go ahead and list them out and then look at all of them, first of all. Which one is most crucial for you to get to that next level that you want to be on? That's the one you should pursue. So right? You might have a bunch of goals. This is my notes right here. But what is the goal that's going to change the game for you? Us at Helps Too, that revenue goal would give us the budget we need for marketing, which is so important actually nowadays. If you don't have a budget for marketing, you're probably not going to get seen by a lot of people. That's just what it is. It wasn't always that way. Now more than ever, it feels that way. It is that way. For Marte, it's really about me as a musician getting to that certain, which I'm not a numbers person to be a numbers person, but if a number is unto a goal, let's do it. You know what I mean? Getting to that next number so that we can, on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, so that we can get that opportunity to really reach people with the message and the music, to be able to kind of self-sustain the music. And that is a goal. So if you are right now listening, think to yourself, what is your end goal? Because it's so, so important. All right, moving on. Number 2, okay? You need to, after you find your end goal, you need to find your marketing engine. All right? Instead of trying to pursue a ton of social media networks and pushing 3 goals forward, you need to focus on your engine. All right. So I know right now people are saying you need to do TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter all at once. And it's psycho. And some of you out there, you're doing it. If you are, leave a comment. Let me know. Call me personally. Our number's on the website. I want to hear it. Or maybe don't call me personally. Send me an email. I really want to hear it because that's incredible. I want to know how you're doing it. But for the entrepreneur who's a solo entrepreneur, you don't have a huge team, you're trying to drive home a revenue goal. For the creative who's trying to also create and do that, it's just too much. It's overwhelming. So you need to decide for yourself, what is your marketing engine? Now, let me talk about what a marketing engine is, because you might be like, Gabby, I have no idea what you're talking about. So a marketing engine is that one thing that is going to be your primary focus in terms of marketing. So for some clients I've worked with in the past, it's not even social media. Like, for example, It Helps Too last year, we didn't really even post on social media, but one time, I know you guys are like, that's shame on you. Well, I mean, is it? Because we made more money last year with our brand than we've ever made, and we didn't post on social media. So our marketing growth engine really doesn't need to be social media. We proved something to ourselves that was incredible. In fact, it was an email sequence to reach out to people, to connect with our brand, and to work with us. And it has been incredible. We've gotten crazy, awesome partnerships, and we have great partners that we've been working with for a while now. So because of that growth engine. For Marte Music, it has been YouTube. YouTube has been our growth engine. We've seen, and I have been as a musician doing what I do, and it's different for everybody. It really is. It's kind of like being in marketing is like being a doctor, I tell people, which is a tall claim, I know. But it really is, because everybody is so different, and the medicine and the strategy they need to grow is completely different. So for my music, I have done Instagram as my growth engine. I have tried, I really haven't put full effort into TikTok because I already had YouTube in the position of my growth engine, and we were kind of steamrolling ahead. And I was like, let's not change it. It's really working for us. And I've tried other things, but the main one that works the best for me as a musician is YouTube. And YouTube gives us the best growth and really is getting me. If it was the only thing I was doing to market myself, it is getting me to where I want to go as a musician right now. Now, is it the only thing I do? No. And that's why it's the engine. So you have a car, right? You need an engine to drive a car, unless you're driving a newer car, like that doesn't, that's, what do they call it? Like a green car that has no gas, and an electric car. That's it. That's the word, an electric car. But back in the day when there was no electric, you needed an engine. So what is going to be your engine? And then from the engine, you can kind of build out, right? Like you do need mirrors on the car. You need a steering wheel, right? You need hopefully you have automatic steering. So you're not driving this car with all of your might. So you have these other things, but the engine is the primary means through which you want to see growth with your brand, with your artistry, with your business. And then from there, you build out. So for example, with Marte Music, the growth engine is YouTube. From one YouTube video, I can chop 3, 4, if I want to go crazy, 12, 20 reels, and I can post those on TikTok, on Instagram, even on Twitter now, Facebook. I can really just put them in like a scheduling, application and just post them out, schedule them out and have them post on all those networks at the same time. And then from there, I can go ahead and advertise, which a lot of people they're not being honest with you guys. Like some music artists that I've heard about, their marketing teams are spending $200,000 a month, right? Like I heard a podcast the other day, Dua Lipa, and I mean, this is hearsay, but Dua Lipa, they said, spends $200,000 a month, not her, but her record label, on marketing her. So, from there, in terms of me putting out my reels, I will probably advertise on Instagram. I might put $50 behind a reel, and then I will put a couple $100 behind Google Ads to get my YouTube video up and rolling. And so that's kind of how my engine and my marketing system works. You know what I mean? And it goes a little bit beyond that, but that's kind of like the main template, I guess I'd say. So not everyone's engine is the same, like I said, but you have 2 to 3 choices, and you need to pick one that is, if you have 2 to 3 choices, you need to pick one that feels like it's going to get you the most growth and it feels doable. Like YouTube for everybody, it doesn't feel doable. Like, even though I would challenge you to try it and then come back and see if it's doable, but maybe it is an email sequence for you. Like at Helps To last year, I was just like, us doing an email sequence and YouTube, we just don't have the manpower right now to do both. Like, what is the main goal? We want to hit this revenue model or number, and that's what we want to do. And so, okay, what's giving us the most growth? It is the sequence. Let's pause on the social media and unfortunately the creatives conversation for now, and we'll get back to it when we have the bandwidth. And now we have the bandwidth. So that's really cool. All right, guys, are you ready for number 3? All right, number 3 is, and you might love me or hate me for this, because either you're great at this or you're bad at this, or you don't even know how to do this. So number 3 is create a plan for consistency. So once you have your end goal and you figured out your engine and kind of your plan on how to get to that end goal, you need to figure out how to be consistent with what you're doing. And I know that's hard. And consistency doesn't need to be every day, right? But it needs to be consistent. So if it's every 3 days, you're going to put up a reel on Instagram and advertise it, then you need to keep it at every 3 days. It shouldn't be 3 days, then 3 days, then 9 days, then 32 days, then 3 days, then 3 days. I am so guilty, especially with my own music. It has been tough in certain seasons, to do that consistent grind with my marketing engine, but it is so necessary if you really want to get to where you're going. And one thing I will tell you that is super helpful, and a lot of people don't talk about this. They'll preach consistency, but then how do you keep the fire in you to stay consistent? The biggest way that I have found is to meditate on your end goal. And I'm not saying go into a dark room and sit there with your legs crossed with a little piece of paper in front of you that's neon yellow and just look at the goal. I mean, that could work though. Let me not lie to you. But I think it is, having a Post-it note by your desk and looking at it daily. I personally get up every morning, and sometimes I miss it, but most often I get up and I have a note on my phone and I read it and I declare my goal, my end goal for both my music and my business and in other areas of my life. And so meditating on that, just keeping it in your mind, that's really what meditating is just chewing on something over and over again in your mind, meditating on it constantly so that you keep it at the forefront of your mind. And then I would also tell friends and family and people that care about you what your other goals are, what these goals are for your business, even for your personal life, because they will ask you if they're good at being accountable, family members or friends. My friends ask me, hey, what happened with that thing you were trying to do, that project you were really going after, that goal that you have? So ask some people to keep you accountable as well. And I think that will be huge. So consistency for Helps To looks like we're constantly keeping that email sequence going to secure those brand partnerships and those other partnerships that we want. And now we're going to be really trying to get back into the Creatives Conversation Season 2, keeping that on a weekly schedule, which feels crazy, but we're going to do it. And keeping our social media pipeline filled. Now, that might be every 3 days we post, but it's just going to be filled. And then Marte, as the musician, for me, consistency looks like a weekly YouTube video. To be honest, kind of the same. Weekly YouTube video, and then keeping my pipeline on social media filled. And right now I'm posting every day because I'm coming out with music, but I think for me, posting every 3 days, every 2-3 days is perfect. Keeping that consistency there. And I think that's on mainly Instagram, because YouTube and Instagram are my jam, man. So I think that's really what it is. Even though I do want to get into TikTok as a musician more, I know it works well. I've used it for other people, but yeah, I really just love YouTube and Instagram, and I've seen incredible growth there. So, and more to come, of course. Now, before I let y'all kind of marinate on this and leave, I do want to just end with some myths that you can let go of. If you're kind of in the middle of getting into a groove that's producing your goal, your end goal, or your dreams, or you haven't even started, I want to give you 5 myths that I wrote down before I came here to record today that I really want to just put in your court and dispel and get them out of our faces forever so that you can move forward. And I've been marketing, like I said, for 12 years. Here are some of the myths to let go of that I hear often. Number one, you need to be super unique or super different to really get to where you're going or to achieve good success in what you're doing. And I just want to say that's not true. That's not true. We've seen brands that aren't really that unique, or even artists that really aren't that crazy unique or like whatever, but they're just consistent and they show up. And we've seen them enough times to feel like we might know them. You know what I mean? I could just keep going on with artists and brands that I could list so many, and I'm just not for the sake of like hurting people's feelings. Everyone is special unto the Lord, you know what I mean? But like, not everybody is a Lady Gaga, you know what I mean? And you don't need to be. Sometimes you just showing up consistently is all we need. And marketing science says, you have to see something 16 times for you to feel provoked to make an action, or to be like, I know that person, or I feel like I understand that thing 16 times. So you showing up consistently really is not just something to do. It's science. So number two, you have to have it all figured out. That is such a myth. And I think I've seen so many of my loved ones, especially, and clients that I've worked with, partners, they want to do something, but they feel like they have to figure it out. And sometimes I feel like they are just wasting time that they could use to like actually put what they know to the test and figure it out as they go. Now, let's be honest, don't put out low quality stuff or like garbage because you didn't take time to do a little bit of research, but you don't have to have every single detail figured out before you go and start something. You can learn as you go. You should always want to learn, never stop learning, but you don't have to know everything before you start. Number three, somebody's already doing what I'm doing, so there's really no room for me to do it. That is such a myth. I actually heard Chris Do. He's also another marketing guru and he's a genius. So I look up to him in so many ways. But Chris Do said, somebody doing what you're already doing is just proof that they've already proven the concept. Like, so if somebody else is in the music industry, like you are in the music industry, that means there's an industry. Like there's room there. There's room for another entry. Even though it might be a crowded industry, there's always more room. There's always more to be invented. There's always more creativity to be had. And that's in anything. So sure, the competition might feel thick, but you don't know unless you're competing. Like you don't know how tough the competition is unless you're running the race. Like jump in. It's just proof that the concept of what you want to do is proven. And if there isn't anybody doing it, then you need to prove the concept and it might not work. So I think sometimes we get it twisted. We only want to do things that we don't see people doing. But sometimes that's just proof and reassurance that you should jump in. Number 4, the journey is quick. I just got to get all my eggs in a row and the journey will be quick. That is a lie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The journey for very few people is quick, okay? And if it looks quick, it's probably because you only got like the last 8 seconds of their journey. That was probably 8 years, 18 years. The journey is long, but it's fruitful and it's beautiful. And I think you just have to prepare for a long journey no matter who you are. And there's always new heights. Even if you feel like you've achieved everything you can on your journey, there's always new heights to be achieved, to grow in, to go after. So yeah, the journey is long, but that doesn't mean it's a bad journey. It's a good journey. And lastly, number 5, it's complicated. It's complicated. What you're going to do is complicated. The marketing journey is complicated. If it's complicated, I challenge you to simplify it. Like for real. Just simplify it. Simple rules. When your audience, whether you're a musician, an artist, graphic designer, a marketing guru, whatever, a scientist even, if your audience that you're writing journals for as a scientist can understand what you're doing simply, you've won. That's the goal. They say that the average reading level in the USA right now is like that of an 8th grader. And that, it's probably lower than that, like a 6th grader, if we're honest. But I think we all desire simplicity to a certain standpoint. And, you don't have to forsake your quality to be simple, but your plan to getting things out there and reaching people, which is what we always discuss on this podcast, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple. So simple. All right, that is it for now. 3 ways to market yourself successfully this year before you leave And before you go on about your day, leave a comment or come find me on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, come find me and let me know what your goal is for 2023. I want to hear it. Leave a comment because first of all, I want to hear it. And number two, let the algorithm know wherever you're listening to this that you like this content and you want more of it because it will hear you. So with that, subscribe and I will see you on the next Creatives Conversation. Bye.